Hello. Many of you been having a little trouble with the test harness, so I thought I would go ahead and make this video on how the program should run while using a test harness. Now, here is an example test harness that I made right here called testharness.java. You'll notice that I have the class, I have a main, and I'm creating an object called student class, called SC, that's a of student class. Um, and the student class object should have a method called greeting contained into it, as you could see, sc.greeting. And by the looks of this, it returns a string because it's assigned to a string here, and it's a temporary variable that I named temp, and I print that out to the screen. Down here, you'll notice that there's another method, sc.add, and this method looks like it takes in two integers by the arguments, and since I'm printing it, it must return the addition between these two. Now you wouldn't know that based on just by add, but the assignments that I give you a description of what these methods should do, right? So so you wouldn't just have it in your test harness, you'll also have to read your assignment to figure out what these things would do. All right, so at the second point here, I'll just, just for comment purposes, I guess, let me just put the comment here and say add returns the sum of the two arguments. Okay, so we'll just add that right there. Anyway, so now we have a test harness. Now, when you have a test harness, the test harness is the only one with a main. Okay, and that's the only thing. I will give you this file from many of the assignments in Advanced Java course. Now, an Advanced Java student, some expectations I have is that you understand how to make classes from your Java 1 course. And in the beginning, you have a little bit of a review of how to make classes and multiple classes, right? So if you need to get up to speed to that, you should go through those video series. But anyway, I give you this file, and I give you a description with the assignment, and an example of this would be I would need you to make an object of, I would need you to make student class, and in student class I will have you to have two methods, one named greeting, one named add. Greeting will return a string, and add will return the sum of the two arguments. That's what the example of what the assignment would say. And you would look at the test harness and match it up, and then you would create your class based on the test harness. Now, this is where you would submit to me. You would submit a class, public class, student class, and you would put the methods that I require in them and the details that I require. So in the assignment, I would probably say that the greeting needs to return some kind of greeting to the user that's of type string, and then you would make a method, public string greeting, return hello, how are you? So that would match up to this. Now notice right here, greeting how it's spelled, and greeting how it's spelled right here. Okay, now I also in my test harnesses do make little adjustments to see if you're paying attention to naming conventions and also standards, right? I could probably have made this greet, right here, and I would, if I did make this greet, I would look to see if you also made this greet, right? So I check to see if you're following directions, okay, not making up your own method names or something similar. Okay, this one here, public int, it's returning an int, add, and then two variables, so it's going to return the sum of two integers right here. So these two methods follow what the requirements are of the test harness. The test harness will, once it makes the object student class SC, it will call this class and call its constructor and make this object, right? And then it would call the methods contained inside of this class right here, right? You should not have a main here. The test harness I give you is the only one that has a main. Okay, now you also, some key elements here, as an advanced Java student, you should not be using static methods. This takes away from the object-oriented design. Okay, this method can now be called directly without making an object. Right? That defeats the purpose. Static methods do have its place, but not in standard Java code. And that's another thing that I do look for when I'm grading your assignments, that you're using proper standard Java notation. Notice that the curly braces are over here and here, just like the standard Java practices are. This is incorrect. This is incorrect. That is not standard Java. This is. This is also incorrect. Just because it does compile and run doesn't mean that it's proper Java standard code. My expectation of an advanced Java student is that I do grade based on Java standards, because at this level you should be writing code that does follow the standards. Also, naming conventions. Notice that the class name is capitalized, not lowercase, and the second word is also capitalized, not lowercase. I'm using camel case for method names and variable names. Those are all things that I look for when grading the assignment. You should take note of that to make sure that you're building code that is not only works but also follow the standards. Okay? Point deductions are in place for any of these that do not follow the standard proper Java standards. Okay? Now, those are the main points that I look for. Spacing is based on you. You know, if you want to put this together for readability, that's okay. Some believe that this is better readability. That's a gray area, and that's okay. Naming conventions, those are standard. Curly braces are standard. There's a reason why your IDE kind of always forces you to put it here and here. It's because it actually follows the standards, right? So, now that this is calling all the methods that you need to that are required for our assignment, I'm going to go ahead and run this code really quickly. It says hello, how are you, and 9. Now that's what I wanted, because we made a student class and named it SC, student class that matches. It has two methods called greeting that returns hello, how are you, and it adds two integers and returns that return of that. So hello, how are you gets printed here, and 5 plus 4 is 9, and that's what gets returned and printed. So this is an example of how to use a test harness. Hopefully it was helpful. I'll see you in the next video.